this again. Look, Bryce is moving in, and I mean, it's picture perfect.
Let's go, boys. UFC WTF episode 210. Last week was Mexico City, Meat Boy UFC 209. In the rear view, not our greatest week. Before we recap, if you're new here, Meat Boy MMA, DIY locks. We've been grilling steaks since 2020, so smash subscribe if you're looking for locks and laughs. But if you want locks this week, head straight to the timestamps in the comments below. But I want to recap Mexico City last week, Meat Boy, because again, not our finest outing. We both went 2-3. The Meatlock did not cash, and we should start there. Lazy Boy kind of got low-key smoked by Kevin Borjas. What'd you make of that L of a Meatlock? And are we getting back on track this week?
Yeah, I think we are getting back on track. This week's going to be an absolute meatlock. Last week was an absolute dunce of a card. You know, we had salty baby boy peanut butter Piper. Didn't look too good in his take and him kind of bailing and what he said. And then you have the meatlock absolutely not, going through, which is truly unfortunate. What a bum. Must have been the altitude. But this one is a lock nonetheless.
Yeah, Lazy Boy wasn't great. Kevin Borjas did look good, though, so perhaps we did underestimate him there. And then you touched on the Piper versus Gastelum cancellation. Joe Diaperbag's Piper simply didn't make it out, didn't make the walk. And it was interesting to contrast that with a women's fight that was earlier on the card where a fighter was about to have an accident, but instead threw down an absolute slobber knocker of a third round and persevered nonetheless. So kudos to Lupi Godinez. And I don't know, I kind of lost faith and a little bit of fandom, to be honest with you, in Diaperbag's Piper, especially with how he dealt with that controversy, so to speak. But nonetheless, a couple other interesting ones stood out to me. Melky Costa looked great. We both picked C-Rod to get that done, but Melky performed well. I'm wondering how good this kid is because he really went through C-Rod, and with the win over Andre Fili, I mean, Melky Costa is quite impressive lately. Raul Rosas got another dominant decision over the OG in Vince Morales. Manuel Torres absolutely slept Drew Dober. We missed that one. We both called that that fight would be over in the first round. It was. Unfortunately, Drew Dober was the one getting absolutely slept. So what did you make out of that Torres versus Dober contest, and how good is Manuel Torres?
Yeah, Manuel Torres is no joke. He looked great, had a phenomenal performance. Um, you know, I don't know. He's definitely a top prospect, potentially.
Yeah, and you wonder what's next for Drew Dober because he's been getting very meat slept lately, and it's not looking great. So the meat event was Brandon Moreno, easy light work over Ursag. We called that one. Not a lot to recap unless you have anything to touch on, or do you want to swap us through, meat boy?
No, it's kind of just what we kind of thought was going to happen, and Moreno pulled through like he always does. But yeah, we're going to swap on over to the meat lock of this week's fight.
Yeah, move us through. It's Torrez Finney taking on Robert Valentin, aka Robzilla, aka Robocop, and Robocop is 0-1 in the UFC. Got absolutely smoked by Ryan Loader, and pre-UFC he was getting some wins. Right, he had some nice performances on the Ultimate Fighter. Took out Paddy McCrory, took out Giannis Bashar, but this guy's best win is Zoran Dodd, and we haven't really been impressed with what Robocop has been doing. And Torrez Finney we know as this hype beast coming from Dana White Contender Series. Dana was hell-bent on getting this guy a UFC contract. He just needed to demonstrate a little bit more finishing capability, and he did just that over Abdallah Rami. Easy light work, got that first round finish, and got the contract to go with it. So we think that the UFC is trying to make something out of Torrez Finney. The guy is compact, mini Finney built like an absolute unit, and should simply ragdoll Robocop in this absolute meatlock. So what do you make over Torrez Finney? How do you think he gets this one done over Robzilla? And is he picking up a finish like he did in his last fight?
Yeah, I think Mini Finney is going to get it done. I think his low center of gravity with that kind of size and that physique, he's going to bulldoze his ankle pick him, ragdoll, smash, ground and pound, easy light work. Going to send the Viking back home. He's going to come through for the absolute lock this week.
Yeah, I buy that for sure. This dude is literally built different. I mean, there isn't a comp on the UFC roster that you can really train against to give yourself a good look because Torrez Finney is kind of one of one, and we think he's just going to be able to ragdoll Robocop in this one. Tapology overwhelmingly agrees. You see the Tapology odds, 86% going with Mini Finney, only 14% going with Robzilla. Do you buy the Tapology backers that say Finney gets this one done by KO or Tico?
Yeah, I think he does get it done by KO TKO, but I think it's gonna be via ground and pound. The submission that would blow my mind if he gets that. I think it's just gonna be a standard mini Finney absolute ground and pound.
Yeah, I buy that for sure. I think he continues his finishing ways and really makes a statement in this one against a winnable opponent. Because to us, this is simply worst versus worst. Who truly is the worst in the UFC? It's got to be RoboCop and not Finney. So we're throwing down hard. We're going 952 to net 400. It's a heavy hammer on Torrez Finney. We've been going with a lot of dink locks lately, Meat Boy, and been getting low key, slow sizzle wiped. So let's go for the ham here, and hopefully Finney gets the job done for us, eh?
Yeah, no, Finney's definitely getting it done. This is the Hammer Slammer mini Finney Meatlock for this weekend.
Yeah, yeah, my bad. Slam it for sure, Meat Boy, and slam us through because another one is it's an interesting contest here with two OGs. I'm surprised they haven't fought, to be honest with you, because they've both been around forever. It's Brad Tavares taking on GM3, and it's one of those fights. I mean, every time GM3 is in a fight, he seemingly is a plus 205 to plus 275 dog, and this fight's no different. Brad Tavares is a minus 250 favorite, even though he's only won one of his last 5 fights, a decision over Chris Weidman, who at the time was still 1 foot out. So, what do you make of the odds in this one? I mean, I know the homie GM3 has lost 2 of 4 as well, but he just got smoked by Rene de Ritter, who might actually be a real player in this division. And his other loss was to your boy Petrosky in a close split decision. So, what do you make of this one? Do you like GM3 at plus 205? Does this have Brad Tavares snoozer decision all over it, or GM3 coming through with another third round finish?
Honestly, this just seems like a GM3 classic underdog fighting someone probably way better than him. He's probably going to lose for 2.5 rounds and then get a sneaky submission third round. So, yeah, I think he's going to come through and get this done.
Yeah, I buy that for sure. And Tapology has seen it the exact same way, which I thought was interesting because he's a 2-to-1 dog, yet is garnering 71% of Tapology. I'm not sure we've ever seen such a discrepancy like that before. And 29% going with the minus 250 favor in Brad Tavares. My best question would be GM3, we know is a guy who, like you said, loves to lose early rounds and then finds a way to secure YOLO finishes in the third. Brad Tavares has been proven to be a very difficult guy to finish. I mean, the guy only really has like a couple of UFC finishes. I mean, I think back to when he got slept by Shabazi and we were there live, and then he got slept by RoboCop, but he doesn't ever get submitted. The guy's never lost by submission. So, do you think that GM3 will be the first to submit him? And if so, what gives you confidence knowing that Brad historically is very difficult to put out like that?
Yeah, I, yeah, Brad Tavares probably is gonna win, and then third round he's gonna get slept with a rear naked choke. I'm calling it. It's gonna be via submission. Brad Tavares, he's going night night. GM3, he's gonna lose literally for 3 rounds until the last 10 seconds. A full Mago Meat 2.0 type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see it the same way. I just worry if Brad Tavares is able to survive. I don't know if GM3 can win a decision against him. So, and this with me, boy, I'm going back and forth. Everything within me is saying don't pick against GM3 in this one, but the Tapology Timmy's kind of worried me a little bit in this one, especially knowing the Vegas odds. I don't know. I just wonder if we have some sort of James Krause style Jeff Molina situation, Derek Meat Boy Minner dinner situation going on here. So I'm gonna take Brad Tavares simply because I don't like the Tapology and simply because I just worry that GM3 won't be able to finish Brad, and as a result, Brad likely ekes out a snoozer lame decision. So I'm gonna take Brad Tavares by decision. You got submission third round, typical GM3 fashion.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be typical GM3 fashion.
Let us know in the comments if you're rolling with GM3 or if you are taking the favor on this one. But solve us through me, boy, because this one actually is fun to me. It's Kenny Nzechukwu looking to continue his heavyweight prowess, and he's taking on Martin Budai, aka Baddies, Booty the Baddies, who is a plus 260 dog, is 14-2 overall, and only has the one UFC loss. It was to Shamil Gaziv, the Dagestani volleyball player, and meanwhile he has nice wins over Jay Collier, Josh Parisian, and a split decision most recently over the OG in Andrei Arlovsky. But Nzechukwu has kind of been on a different ascent ever since going to heavyweight. He picked up a beautiful finish over Chris Barnett and then did the same thing in a performance of the night victory over Lucas Brzezinski. So sky's the limit seemingly for Kennedy at heavyweight. This guy even took out your boy Black Jag down at light heavyweight. So we know he has a lot of talent. does he walk through Booty the Baddies, or is Booty the Baddies going to give him a different test that perhaps Lucas Brzezinski and Chris Barnett never would?
Yeah, I don't know if Luke Sparneski definitely would not, but yeah, I know. I gotta go with Kennedy's injection over. He took out the Black Jag. I mean, just that alone, I don't see how Boudet could get this done. To be honest, the size, the speed, Boudet he's lacking in all the things that Injectua is a little bit better at. So I think it's gonna be a KO third round when he gasses out.
Yeah, I can see that's a good call. And you touched on the size of Kenny and Jessica. The dude is massive, right? 6'5", 237, likely might come in around 245, has that John Jones style reach, and will likely just pick Booty the Baddies apart. But Booty the Baddies will have a different grappling arsenal that perhaps Kennedy is unfamiliar with, at least at this division. I mean, he did go against and have some success against strong wrestlers at 205. I think back to that fight against the Devin the Brown Bear Clark, but if this is a heavyweight version of a power grappler, perhaps that could give Kennedy some challenges. But I'm with you all the way. I like Kennedy to pick up a finish in this one. Tapology's seen it the exact same way. 93% overwhelmingly going with Kennedy. Only 7% his friends and family are going with Booty the Baddie. So are you taking Nzechuku by KO? And if so, is it early or often?
I think it's going to be early and often. I think Kennedy is going to get it done. I mean, probably by the third round, second round, maybe the first. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's going to be early in that round. That's all I know.
Early in a round for sure. Let us know if you're going to clench that over or if you think this fight is over within 7.5 minutes. Ultimately, I'm going to go middle of the second round. Kennedy picks up a TKO in this one. I think it's going to be an interesting challenge for him, though, because Booty the Baddie, as mentioned, brings unique challenges that I think will provide a solid levels test for Kennedy. So we both like Kennedy by some sort of KO or TKO finish. Swap us through me, boy, because it's the co-meet, and Joe Anderson Brito, aka Tubarão, is taking on Pat Slabatini, who essentially everyone wrote off against in the last fight against Jonathan Pierce, JSP, when JSP was coming as a decent favorite. And Pat Slabatini really made easy light work with the first round finish, rear naked choke over JSP. So Slabatini's back. And then when you kind of sort of pull back a little bit, the losses are to a peak Leach Jackson and Diego Lopez, who is about to be fighting for a title or is right there. So what do you make of this fight against Brito? Do you perhaps like Pat Sabatini at plus 198, or does Brito, even coming in off his first UFC or his second UFC loss, rather, a close split decision against William Gomis, do you like him at minus 238? Who you take?
Yeah, I know. Man, Pat Slabatini, those are good odds if you're a Pat fan. I'm a big Pat fan. I faded him last time. I regretted that. This one, I might have to fade again because clearly people aren't sold that Pat is back, and that's kind of where I'm at. And I think Brito has been proving nothing except for he's an absolute savage. And so the only way I see Pat winning this is if his wrestling and his strength is and he can keep that strength going for 3 rounds, is too much for Brito to handle. Brito is going to be just as good at wrestling, just as good at jiu-jitsu, just as good cardio, just as good, but way better on the stand-up. But just because you're just as good doesn't mean you're going to win it if you're weaker. That's where I worry, because Pat does seem like a freak of nature, but so does Brito. So I got to go with Brito because Brito, I think, wins anywhere this fight goes. The only X factor is, like, does Pat Slabatini have the strength of Sean Brady? Just this freakish grip where, like, oh, like, we're both the same level, but I mean, if you're stronger than somebody, you're just gonna manhandle them and they can't move, even if you are at the same level, if that makes sense. So it's very, very big what if, and I just can't go with that. So I'm gonna take Brito on this one.
Yeah, a lot of great points. I think this is a fight that the strength will be evident within the first few minutes, and once we can discern who does have the strength advantage, it's going to be very easy to determine who's going to win the fight. Because I think you nailed it right on the head. I'm curious to see who is stronger as well, because we saw Sean Brady versus Leon Scott a few weeks ago, and Sean Brady really just ragdolled him. I mean, even after the fight, I think he was on the phone with his wife or his fiance, and he's like, well, I couldn't believe how bad Leon was on the ground, and I think a lot of that was attributed just to how freakishly strong Sean Brady is. And people were dogging on his height, but he said he was weighing around 198 pounds, during fight week. So the dude is massive. The dude is strong. Does Slabatini, to connect it to your point, have a similar strength advantage over Brito, because if he does, then it might be dog city for him around plus 200. But Tapology is unconvinced. Tubarão is garnering 92% of Tapology backers, and it's basically all brown for the KO. So do you think that if and when Joe Anderson gets this one done, that he's going to finish, he's going to flatline Slabatini?
Yeah, honestly, I think he is gonna flatline him. I think he's gonna send him to Shadow Realm, and yeah, I think he's gonna have another spectacular KO.
Yeah, this one's tough for me, Mean Boy, because I think that Pat Slavatini could be peaking right now, but Brito does have those beautiful wins. I mean, this is a guy who picked up back-to-back pre-UFC wins over Chepe Mariscal and then Diego Lopez on Contender Series. So really highlights how talented Brito is. The two losses do kind of worry me, but the most recent one was very close, very controversial, and against William Gomes, who was able to just kind of stay at distance, land a lot of leg kicks, not really land many damaging shots, but was able to accumulate points and ultimately eke out a split decision. So this one's tough for me, Meat Boy. I do think though that this one could go the distance, and I'm ultimately going to ever so slightly side with Brito. But I don't think anyone's getting finished in this fight. I think that this fight will be very close. I'm taking over 2.5, and I say Brito ultimately emerges with a decision, maybe a late third round finish, some type of YOLO, but I have a feeling this fight goes the distance and is pretty close. So I'll go Brito by decision. You officially got Brito by finish, eh?
Yeah, Brito by finish, 100%.
Let us know if you're taking Brito by finish or decision, or if we are sleeping on a juicy plus 200 Slabatini dog to capitalize and highlight that strength that that Boston team has going down there. So let me know and swap us through, me boy, because it's the last one. It's the meat event. Lerone Murphy still undefeated. They always say that technically he is undefeated, I suppose, despite having a debutante draw, a split one at that against Zubaira. But he's taking on Josh Emmett, who is 19-4 overall. You saw the intro meet down. Absolutely slept Bryce Mitchell. Basically showed Bryce Mitchell the curvature of the earth as soon as he came back to reality. But it was ultimately a beautiful performance for Josh Emmett, and one that he was able to cash in as a sizable dog. And this one, Lerone Murphy is getting a lot of love from the odds makers, a lot of love from Tapology, and did pick up a beautiful win against Dan Ige. But when you start to inspect the wins before that, it's a lot of guys that perhaps Josh Emmett might have some success against. So do you think that this could be Dog City again, and similar to Bryce Mitchell getting flatline and flat earthed, maybe Lerone Murphy could be next as a sizable favorite? Who are you taking?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely could get flat earth in this fight. Josh Emmett has absolute bombs in those fists, as he's displayed time and time again. This is a big levels test, but I think Murphy is the real deal. He's been proven that he is there to stay. I mean, the odds makers are kind of showing that, yeah, like this is the future. And Leroy's a dog. I mean, no one's put him out. He's undefeated. I mean, he's an absolute savage, and I think he's going to show why he's a top fiver and why he's going to fight for the belt soon. But he's got to watch out, because if Emmett hits him, he's going to be joining Bryce Mitchell on flat earth over there.
Yeah, Josh Emmett just slings absolute globes. I mean, Lerone Murphy, if he gets struck by one of those meat bombs, then he's going to face a similar Bryce Mitchell fate. But you mentioned how well-rounded Lerone Murphy is, and the dude obviously is 7 years younger. I mean, it's crazy, but Josh Emmett's 40 years old, right? When I think Josh Emmett, for some reason I thought he was maybe 35, maybe 36, but the dude has eclipsed 40, and when you're going up against the 33-year-old kids who essentially have been dominating and have that youth advantage, it's going to be a very difficult one at that. Coupled by the fact that the Miracle has the reach advantage, has the height advantage, likely will have the strength advantage. He just won't have the meat bomb advantage. So, what's your best pitch for Murphy? And if he does get this one done, is it going to be a typical decision that Murphy usually does, or maybe does Murphy pick up a third, fourth, or fifth round finish, and that's perhaps where you cash for the Miracle?
Yeah, no, Murphy could get a finish, but yeah, it does seem like a miracle. I think he's gonna win by decision. I think it's gonna be a long, Murphy fight, and I think he's gonna look good, but I just don't see him getting a finish, to be honest.
Yeah, and he did go the distance already. Murphy did against Edson Barbosa. Didn't seem to have any cardio issues, especially down the stretch. And it was a unanimous decision and a fight of the night one at that over a talented guy in Edson Barbosa. So that fight is the best evidence for me for why he gets this one done over Josh Emmett. But Josh Emmett, I mean, is he basically the 2 second lip job, basically the Jairzinho Rosenstrike of the division, where if you take one bad step, have one silly moment, you're simply getting flatlined. Is he the lip job of featherweight?
You know, he definitely might be the lip job of featherweight.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if Lerone Murphy is getting lip jobbed by Josh Emmett or is he going to pick up a decision. Ultimately, I'll side with you, Meat Boy. I'll go Lerone Murphy. I'm going to say Murphy finds a way to get a finish because this guy needs a statement finish. He got the meat event opportunity against Edson Barbosa, and then they stuck him barely kicking off a main card in Abu Dhabi. So kind of went down a peg. This is his opportunity again in a meat event. He's got to pick up a finish, in my opinion, because if he does, I mean, he could be right there in title talks, especially with Topuria Valent on the division and a title fight next weekend. I mean, Lerone Murphy is right there. So I'll take Murphy by finish. You officially have Murphy by
Decision.
let us know in the comments if Josh Emmett is going to Toblerone Josh. But nonetheless, Meat Boy, we broke down 5. Last week again was not our best. We were supposed to have 6. Diaper bags pulled. Ultimately, we went 2 and 3. How do you do after UFC WTF this week?
Oh man, it's gonna be a brutal one, but I'm hoping I go at least 4-1.
You cut out. What are you going?
I'm hoping I go at least 4-1.
4-1 per sure. I'll say 4-1 as well. Torrez Finney should absolutely get this one done over RoboCop though, nonetheless. So, any last thoughts on UFC WTF, Meatball? I feel like these scrappy cards that are aptly named are getting difficult to break down because they keep getting scrappier and scrappier. But next week there are some bangers. Any last thoughts until then?
Yeah, this is a scrappy one. It's a WTF, and hopefully the scrappies disappear because 2025 so far it's not hitting like 2024 and 2023 in the previous years.